Time skip 2 months. Welcome to the final test of these Jonin exams. You will be randomly called as your names appear on the screen. This arena is a special arena with variable conditions from the 5 elements acting as traps randomly throughout the fight. Any questions? All of your respective kages are present along with the daimyos, so remember to be put in your best performances," said Darui as he pointed up to 2 boxes. One had all the kages while the daimyos sat in the other one. Naruto spotted both Tsunade and Shiro and gave a respectful nod in their direction, an action that was imitated by the other hopefuls as well. "What did you mean when you said elemental traps?" asked Naruto. "Exactly what it sounds. Around random times in your matches an elemental attack will be unleashed upon you by the seals in the arena. The element will also be randomly decided by the screen with your matches. Any questions?" asked Darui. When no one spoke, Darui spoke up and said, "Alright, then we will begin the first set of matches. Look at the screen." As he finished, the screen glowed and the names, Namikaze Naruto vs Aizen Sarutobi, along with the kanji for wind appeared on the screen. "Oh, what do you know?" Naruto said with a massive grin. "Awesome," Aizen said as both of them jumped into the arena and began cracking their necks and fingers getting ready for the match. Looking at Aizen, Naruto said, "How much power are we going to display?" "Anything barring Sage Mode goes," Aizen replied. Darui then signaled the match to begin and quickly jumped out of the way. He could tell that both the young men in front of him were S ranks and had no interest in getting caught in their battle's crossfire. Immediately the emotion melted of the faces of both ninjas and they stared at each other with battle-hardened expressions. After a few moments of stillness, both of them disappeared in bursts of speeds and met in the center of the arena as they engaged in a high-tier taijutsu match. Naruto was focusing on high-speed quick punches while dodging Aizen powerful hits. Both of them had the arsenal to change when they needed, but didn't. It was the beginning after all. Aizen then managed to get a strong punch in that Naruto blocked as he crossed his arms over his chest. Both of them then separated and created a little distance between themselves. All the other hopefuls bearing Niji, Samui, Kuratsuchi and Chojiro looked on surprised. "I see you haven't been slacking, Aizen. Your punches are stronger than before," Naruto commented as he moved his hands to rid them of the slight numbness he was feeling. "The same can be said about you. Your speed despite your seals has increased many-fold. So how are we going to continue?" Aizen asked back. "Let's get rid of our restrictions. It's all out from here onwards. Ninjutsu, Bojutsu, Kenjutsu, bloodlines, everything is out in the open," Naruto said as clapped his hands together and removed all of his restriction seals. Aizen in response nodded and started removing all his chakra weight bracelets before throwing them over to Niji, who deftly caught them. Naruto then opened his eyes as his Sharingan flared to life as several chains escaped his back. He then unsheathed his sword and looked over to Aizen, who had his bow staff out and was in position. However, before they could attack each other, several wind blades were fired from the walls, prompting both the nins to cut down the wind. "So that's how it works, huh? I am pretty sure that the traps will only get more and more intense as the match progress. Karatu-san, try noting a pattern," Naruto said as he focused over to Aizen. Kurama grunted in response and started sensing over in the surroundings. Naruto then created several Kage Bunshin before all of them simultaneously disappeared using the transparency jutsu. Aizen raised his eyebrow at the maneuver but didn't comment on it. He, however, did start paying more attention to the surroundings. A hidden Naruto was a very dangerous thing. Without a word to each other, both of them charged. Soon, however, the Kages could tell that Naruto was the one having the upper hand in this exchange. Naruto with his Sharingan and chakra chains was able to send in extra attacks, all the while predicting Aizen's moves. Aizen was holding up well, but he knew that if the current round continued any longer he would lose. He then jumped back and created a little distance before he went through one-handed signs and shouted, "Fire-style fire dragon jutsu." As he finished, a colossal fire dragon escaped his mouth and flew towards Naruto. Naruto in response held up his hand and shouted, "Space-time absorption Fuin." As soon he finished, the fire dragon was absorbed into the seal on his hand. However, he didn't have time to take a break as Aizen swung down his staff at him. Suddenly Aizen was forced to dodge a lightning ball that was fired from the side. Shit, I almost forgot about his invisible clones, he thought as he created a little distance between them. "Kid, it's coming now," Kurama told him as Naruto nodded before jumping up. As soon as the air blast was released, Naruto released the fire dragon and created a collaboration as he fired it at Aizen, who channeled chakra into his staff and cut the dragon in half. However, before he could react, he found cold steel on his back and saw two of Naruto's clones holding kunais on his neck. He sighed knowing he was defeated. He then raised his hand in surrender and sealed his bowstaff. Naruto smiled at his best friend and rival and offered him a hand, which Aizen took wholeheartedly. "I knew I shouldn't have held back," Aizen said as he was pulled back. "Don't look at me, I told you to go for it," Naruto replied as the duo walked back to the contestant room. "Kage box. That was a very good fight," I commented. "I agree, both of them did show a splendid amount of skill and planning," Mei said. "Both of them have shown enough to be promoted. Though I am a little miffed that Konoha has yet another yellow flash and a shinobi no kami in the making," Anoki said, drawing a small glare from Tsunade, who didn't say anything. "Both of them have my vote for the promotion," Gaara said, getting nods from the others around him. Back to the field. Naruto Namikaze qualifies to the next round. We now begin our second round. Please look over to the screen, Darui said. As he finished, the names Samui Yatsuki and Kiba Inazaka shown along with the kanji of Earth on the screen. Naruto looked at Kiba and said, "Good luck out there, dog breath, you'll need it." Kiba grumbled but didn't say anything. He knew exactly how strong Samui was. After all, she had matched Naruto with his Sage mode at one time. And he was sure that she had grown stronger since then. Naruto then turned to Samui and blew a kiss towards her, making her blush slightly. She too followed after Kiba into the arena. Seeing both the contestants on the field, Darui signaled for the match to begin before jumping away. Kiba immediately turned Akamaru into his clone and then threw him 4 kunai. He then went into his 4-legged jutsu and held a kunai in each leg. Both the Kibas then launched themselves at Samui and started attacking in much more dangerous and erratic manner than the usual Inazaka style. Naruto had to say he was impressed. Someone without the Sharingan would be really hard-pressed to fight someone with Kiba's style. However, he had faith in both his girlfriend and classmate that they would put on a good show. Samui remained blank as she dodged Kiba's attacks before she pulled out her sword and began slashing as fought back against Kiba's charge. Naruto whistled. He hadn't seen Samui fight since he came to Kumo, since all they had done was mushy stuff and training alone to prepare of the exams. He knew that she had improved, but seeing her move was as if she had picked up pattern and could predict Kiba's movements. Heck, her mere movement had the sharpness that resembled a shiny katana cutting through the air. She wasn't making any extra moves, keep it to bare simple, as she kept up with Kiba's pace without any chakra. This fact made Naruto smile. He knew that if he and Samui fought again, it would account for yet another interesting battle. Kiba jumped back as he growled a bit. However, before he could continue his assault, a large wall came in between them, signaling the activation of the arena trap. Kiba held back and slowed down in weight as he decided to survey how his opponent would react. He then quickly had Akamaru use a headhunter jutsu to get underneath the ground in weight of a trap. Samui on the other hand already was aware that Kiba couldn't beat her in a head-on fight and would try to trap her in a way. She smirked a bit to herself and decided to give Kiba what he wanted, a chance to trap her. She then charged at the wall and cut a hole through it as she dashed towards Kiba at high speeds while throwing a kunai into a nearby wall, surprising everyone except the Kages, who had already guessed the logic behind Samui's thinking. Just as she neared Kiba, Naruto activated his Sharingan and watched the battle in a slow pace. Time seemed to slow as Akamaru burst from the ground behind Samui. After that, both Kiba and Akamaru swung their kunais at Samui, who smirked slightly before she replaced herself with the kunai threw earlier. Samui then went through one-handed hand seals before she coolly said, "Raiton Kangekiha." A very large wave of lightning left her hands before it engulfed both Akamaru and Kiba, both of whom roared in pain, before which they fell down and started twitching. Darui announced Samui as the winner as the medics came in and carried Kiba away. Samui then coolly walked back to the contestant room. Kage's box. "I must say your daughter has improved leaps and bounds since the Chunin exams, Reikage Dano," Gaara said. "Naturally. She is a kunoichi who takes her training very seriously. I dare say that she is among the favorites to win this tournament," I said with a smirk. "Kuro-chan will be the winner today," Anoki said with a confident smirk. "I wouldn't count out Chojiro just yet. He is a member of the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist and was personally trained by me," Mei interjected. "While I'd love to continue this dick measuring contest, we do need to decide on the promotions from the second fight," Tsunade cut in calmly. "Fine then. If I'd say the Samui girl deserves her promotion, she easily saw through the Inazaka's trap and set a trap within his trap. Not to mention she had the skill to back it up," Anoki said, getting nods of agreement from around the room. "The Inazaka brat, however, I don't think he is ready. He may have shown the right amount of skill and a little planning, but he did not display a fallback plan," I added, once again eliciting nods from around the room. Back to the arena. Next match, Niji Hyuga from Konoha vs Ken from Kyumo, Darui announced as Nkaki Kyumo. Nin jumped over and smirked at Niji, who stoically walked towards the arena. Naruto almost chuckled at the way Niji was walking. Niji wasn't weak, and even Aizen was wary of him, which spoke volumes of his skills. Not to mention that Niji had become one of Tsunade's apprentices and had been taught many things by the slug Sannin. The fact had surprised Naruto for a while, but it soon died down since he knew that Niji's talent must forced him to look for additional skills. Darui then announced the start of match. As soon as he jumped, Niji disappeared in speeds that matched Naruto's and reappeared in front of Ken. He then reared back his fist and launched a punch at Ken. However, he stopped his punch just an inch from Ken's face. As he did, a strong gust from the mere force of his punch sent Ken's protector flying. Ken's face had turned to a ghastly white as he shakily turned around and paled even further. On the wall was an imprint of Niji's hand that had been caused by the mere force of his blow. Ken knew that if he continued he'd be in a world of pain. He then quickly raised his hand and said, "Proctor, I quit. How do you expect me to fight something like that?" Darui nodded with a sigh and said, "Winner Niji Hyuga." Niji gave him an arrogant smirk before walking back to the contestant room. Inside the room. "Era Niji-kun, what were you trying to do?" asked Naruto in a teasing tone and a sly smirk. "I don't know what you mean, Naruto-kun," Niji replied in a similar tone. "You know I want to fight you after the incident you pulled just now," Naruto said as he looked over to the field. Niji snorted before saying, "Why do you think I did that?" "It was a message to you to get your ass ready," getting a grin from Naruto in response. Kage box. Well, that was disappointing. How did that boy even get past the two tests? asked Tsunade. I didn't say anything and grumbled about nosy council members. The Kages decided to hold on to Niji's promotion until future rounds as his match could hardly be described as a fight. Back to the arena. The screen then flashed the names of Omoi and Chojiro with a kanji of water written on it. Both the swordsmen nodded to themselves. The element in question could be manipulated to favor both of them. Both of them silently made their way into the arena as they contemplated battle plans in their brains. Darui looked at both of the competitors before asking them if they were ready. Upon seeing their nods he jumped away before signaling the match. Both Omoi and Chojiro rushed towards each other beginning a sword fight. Omoi using the Kyumo twin blade style while Chojiro was using the Hiramaki-eye. Naruto whistled at Kojiro's movements. Despite him carrying a very large blade, he was easily able to move at similar speeds to Omoi. While Omoi was not as good as Samui, his pace and skills were frightening to say the least. The Kenjutsu clash remained for a few minutes with Chojiro gaining the upper hand with every passing moment. What was surprising to say was that Chojiro hardly looked as if he was trying. Omoi on the other hand was struggling to keep up now. Contestant stand. Whistle ***. I didn't think there was a Kenjutsu practitioner our age who was good as me. Naruto said with a whistle. You really should keep your mouth shut, Namikaze. Just wait, I will kick your sorry ass. Karui said with a growl. I am sorry to say, Karui, but my fine ass is already taken. Naruto replied with a charming smile as wrapped one of his hands around Samui. Both girls blushed, one at his words and the other at his hug. Karui then growled at him in annoyance while he merely whistled innocently. Back to the arena. It was at this moment that the seals on the arena activated themselves once again before firing several fast streams of water towards the two competitors. Omoi took the advantage of this and broke the Kenjutsu battle and was about to use a lightning jutsu. However, before he could cast it, Kojiro's sword extended and flew towards him at astonishing speeds. Omoi cursed before he dodged the incoming blade with a shushin and landed on the water floor. However, this turned out to be a mistake as Chojiro quickly weaved through hand seals and said, water-style water prison jutsu. And such before Chojiro could react, he was trapped in a circular water prison. Sighing internally, he nodded towards Darui, signaling that he had lost and conceded the match. Darui accepted the call and announced Chojiro as the winner. Chojiro nodded before walking back to the contestants. Kage box. That was very impressive from your ninja Mizukage Dano. His control over his skill definitely warrants his promotion. Gaara said, eliciting nods of agreement from the other Kage. Mei, however, had a very pleased gleam in her eyes. Back to arena. The screen once again flashed revealing the names of Karui and Matsuri. The kanji revealed was once again wind. Naruto, being the genius, had already worked out who the winner would be. The whole match had points to Matsuri's victory. She was a Kage's apprentice, had a wind affinity which was superior to Karui's lightning. Not to mention she would also be able to use the traps to her advantage when they arrived into the mix. In short, Karui was in for a disappointing loss. Down in the arena, Darui, after the contestants gave their consent to start the match, jumped away. The match began when Matsuri opened up her assault with a wide range of wind jutsu. She did show her mastery with the fact that Karui was soon overwhelmed and had lost the match when a great breakthrough sent her into the wall. The impact was enough to send her into the folds of a blissful unconsciousness. Darui then jumped down and began checking on Karui. After confirming her unconscious state, he called in the medics to lead her away to the medic tent. He then announced Matsuri to be the winner, which made the bubbly Suna Nin skip back into the contestants' ward with a whistle. Kage box. You have taught your apprentice well, Kazekage Dano. Karui was one of my better chunins. I grunted. Indeed it is. I had only hoped her attitude would have changed just a bit. Gaara stoically said. Now some cheeriness is needed in a dark world like ours. Tsunade said, getting an enthusiastic agreement from Mei while the three male Kages just grunted in response. Back in the arena. Since the last two IWA Nin were the final two competitors for the last two spots, both automatically qualified for the semi-finals. Darui then stepped up and said, "From now we shall follow the traditional tournament style. The names shall be shuffled to find your matches for the quarter-finals, after which they go on. And after each round the number of elements in a single match will increase. Come back tomorrow for your matches to begin." "Thank you," Darui said before waving the young Nins of. Everyone shuffled out of the arena keen to get in some rest before the tournament tomorrow. Naruto simply grabbed Samui by the waist and disappeared in a flash, leaving his friends to shake their heads at the antics.